Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our next session of AI Tech Talks. These are live, uncensored, and answering all your questions. I am the founder of Skive Inc. We are a UK and US based company. Today, we will be covering topics around AI emerging and disappearing industries. While we wait for questions to come in, let me give you a little bit of introduction about what are the enabling technology, specifically related to AI, that are affecting these industries. NLP is the first one that comes into my mind, natural language processing. So instead of us humans talking about something or interacting, how can machines or AI systems do that? Computer vision is another one where we want AI systems or systems to really see what's really happening and act accordingly. The third is bots, or it's commonly called chatbots, and in the enterprise world, it's even sometimes called RPA, remote process automation. All those are in one area of using AI or machine learning to answer queries. Support systems are one example. Robotics is the fourth area, which has been very influenced by artificial intelligence, how to make robots smarter. And when we say robotics here, I mean much more on the physical robotics side of things. Physical robots that are much more automated, that could carry a food from a restaurant to another place. Even autonomous cars fall under that category. And that brings me to autonomous vehicles, which is also influencing a lot going forward from drivers that may not really be needed because now our cars or trucks are level 5 autonomous. The last is AI decision making systems. So when we talk about all these technologies like NLP, computer vision, bots, robotics, autonomous vehicles, now if you attach a decision making system that's based on AI or it's based on machine learning, that makes that can to some extent replace human through automation. Okay, so with that background, let's see if we have any questions yet. So far, we don't have questions, so we will continue, and I will tell you a little bit about what these AI technologies that I mentioned is facilitating. So first is it's changing the workforce. Who do we need in the industry? Do we still need somebody who is an expert in driving a car? Yes. The answer is yes. It's totally yes. Now, will we need that in the future? That's still debatable. The second is how we actually work, and COVID-19 has accelerated that process of us working much more remotely without the help of a lot of the office staff and office facilities. And some of these technologies related to NLP, computer vision, bots, and robotics are also enabling a change in how we work. We don't need a physical executive assistant now. We could do it very well with automated chatbots or our Apple Siri or our Amazon Alexa. And then the last one is what are the skills that's actually needed to go to the next level, to survive and get a job. So our first question is, what do you think the future of work will look like if AI machines will be able to perform the work of humans? The future of work is we are sitting in a beach in Hawaii, drinking wine, while our robotic machine does all the work for us. And now and then the robotic machine will message us, do you really want to do this? Should I hire an employee or should I fire the employee? And you just have to say yes or no, and our work is done. That's the future of work in a nutshell. It's not that easy. There are different steps to get into that, and we are getting into things like these. For example, do we need a recruiter to recruit people or to moderate who get interviewed? AI systems have been doing some of that work for us by automatically figuring out what we see in a resume and shortlisting candidates. Is it the best solution today? No, it is not. And personally, as a founder of an AI startup where we're building machines that feel with offices in both London and San Francisco and a few other parts of the world, I could very well say that I personally ensure that I go through each resume and actually talk to every individual who seems qualified without any use of AI. Now, this may be counterproductive, but I want to really build a culture of people who have the right mindset, and that you can only find if you talk to somebody, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes. So to some extent, for mass scale recruitment, the future of work would be really around automating some of these tasks. And sometimes that may not get us the best results, but it will happen. And that's how future of work will be. Secondly, a lot of the tasks which are much more administrative or which could be repeated or which are mundane could be done by robots or robotic system, either in software or hardware. AI system could very well create a nice looking graph, could do some analytics on a spreadsheet and numbers and provide us the results. Now we don't need somebody with a financial planning background to do that. What that means is that we on the employee side need to step up one more level where we are being more creative and thinking, as opposed to doing those boring tasks where we were crunching a lot of numbers. Third, a lot of the physical human labor, for example, shoving around boxes in a warehouse or driving 1,000 miles to deliver goods from one country to another, which was done right now through a lot of the manual people, drivers doing it, or through laborers. Those are not fun tasks to do. And that's where AI systems or machines come into picture. Now, that also means is that those drivers, those truck drivers, or those labor who usually get recruited in warehouses, for example, in the Christmas time, will need to upskill and find better, more fun jobs. But as we are seeing, and that's what we have done, that human civilization is becoming more and more sophisticated, and we are coming to an age where work should be fun, and should not be fun for you and me. It should be fun for everyone. Our next question is, what industries do you think will be most affected, and what new industries will emerge with the rise of AI? I could think of three main industries that are most affected and that's emerging right now, both because of some of the social economic issues we are facing. COVID-19 is one of them. And as I can tell, this is not going anywhere anytime soon. After COVID-19, there will be something else. Healthcare is the first industry. It has emerged tremendously, both by having AI acting as assistant to actual physical doctor. AI should not, and most likely cannot, replace an actual doctor. There's nothing like going to a doctor where the doctor is looking at you, talking to you, have that physical connection, and based on the history, provide you what needs to be done. But it could be augmented with artificial intelligence. It could also be augmented using telepresence technologies, and that's what's really happening. We expected that it will take years for that to happen, where telemedicine or telepresence, when you're talking to a doctor, will come into common knowledge. But as we have seen that right now, it's a necessity. You cannot actually physically visit a doctor because of the pandemic and healthcare, and this will actually continue. The second industry is, I would say, which traditionally have not been using artificial intelligence and have not been that productive, is agriculture. It's not a sexy industry, but as we go with global warming and issues about food worldwide, it is becoming more and more important to do agriculture in a way that's scalable and it's more intelligent, and doing it in a way where it's accessible to a lot more people, or the output is there. And agriculture also relates to how can you actually create new crops, create new seeds, and secondly, how can you grow, how can you monitor these crops. The third area is marketing, and that's not relatively new. We have seen that marketing being replaced by AI, especially on the business intelligence side of things in the last couple of years. And I believe this will be much more and more automated, where we will know where our AI system will know exactly how to market, where to market, at what time to market. And the systems available today, through even some of the bigger social media platforms or through traditional channel marketing, can do that. The next part of the question is, when it comes to most effective, is what industries may not do well or are actually not doing well due to AI. The first is IT services. Traditionally, to install a piece of software, it could be at home, where you're trying to optimize your laptop, or it could be on the enterprise world, where you're trying to deploy a huge CRM or a ERP system, or you're trying to even deploy artificial intelligence at a scale and the security. In the past, this was a lot of manual process. You had a lot of DBAs fine-tuning the database. You had a lot of engineers taking care of your infrastructure, so your storage, your processing. And then you have application engineers who will fine-tune these applications. All that is actually going away. And the new breed of AI companies that are coming in make all these processes much more automated. Now, why will somebody wants to pay $1 million for a 6-month project to a IT services company when it could be done in a much more automated way at reasonable cost? I won't say less cost, it could be actually more expensive in some cases, but in a much more predictable way. The second is customer service or customer care in general, where you will have expected there's a huge data centers that are being outsourced all around the world. You're on the whole essence is that you're answering customers' call or trying to get them to the right documentation or trying to troubleshoot. All that can now be done through RPAs, or what's called robot process automation. These are software robots, and they also relates to what we commonly know as chatbots. And so customer service or customer support is, in my belief, will no longer exist as it is today, where you have manual people answering your phone calls, whether we like it or not. There's much more fun things to do than listening to angry customers. So that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The third is administrative jobs. I mentioned to you about the essence of executive admin, who's sitting in a leader's office taking notes, trying to manage calendars, answering calls. Now, that's not really needed. It could be done in a much more automated fashion using software and hardware. And these are the three disappearing industries I could actually think of, which are more important, which are being marginalized using AI. The bottom line is, just to summarize the six industries that I mentioned, yes, there are jobs that will be replaced by artificial intelligence, but that's a great thing. If you're not thinking in your job, or if you're doing the same thing again and again, what fun is it? And that's where AI comes in picture. Because AI, at least not today, does not have consciousness. So it will do what you tell them to do. And some of the repetitive jobs are a great place for AI to take over. The jobs that will most are in demand today, they were in demand yesterday, and they will be in demand in the future, is jobs that relates to any kind of creativity. Creating a very compelling marketing collateral, creating a very compelling video for the customers, being a leader, managing a set of people, inventing, art and humanities. All these are areas and disciplines that will be actually in much more demand as we go into the future. I hope that answer your questions. Just to summarize what we covered in this live talk today, we talked about some of the enabling technology, NLP, computer vision, bots, robotics, autonomous vehicles, decision-making systems. We covered about how three things are changing because of these enabling technology. It is the workforce, how we work, and the skills we need to survive and will be most in demand. And then lastly, we covered about the emerging and disappearing industries. So healthcare, agriculture, and marketing is where AI has played a lot of role and will continue to do that. And then there are disappearing industries, RD services, customer care, and administrative jobs. These are becoming marginalized today, and they will continue to be that way. As always, I'm here. If you have any questions and would like to talk to me, please feel free to message me on Facebook, or you could message us on our Skive LinkedIn or Facebook page. Again, thanks. It was great talking to you. And my name is Aditya Mohan. I'm the founder of Skive Inc. We are obviously hiring. So if you'd like to get in touch with us, you could contact one of our staffs or reach out to me. Thanks. Have a safe day.